In the heart of a vast forest lived a small raccoon named OBBY. Unlike other raccoons, OBBY was smaller in size and more introverted. She enjoyed spending time in her warm, cozy den, savoring the quiet moments, rather than venturing out into the wilderness like her fellow animals. OBBY's life seemed peaceful, but deep inside, she harbored a secret longing. However, that yearning was buried beneath her fear of the unknown. She was afraid of unfamiliar things, afraid of taking risks, and most of all, afraid of leaving the safety of her home. OBBY's friends knew about her timid nature, but they never stopped inviting her to play or go on adventures with them. Her best friend, a rabbit named Lilly, was particularly persistent. "OBBY, come out. It's such a beautiful day, and we've found a new meadow by the creek." Lily's bright eyes were filled with curiosity and excitement, but OBBY always found an excuse to stay behind. "I don't feel well today, maybe next time," she would say. This was a familiar conversation. OBBY always found a way to avoid leaving her familiar, safe space. Every time she watched her friends run off to explore and have fun, a twinge of guilt and sadness would rise in her heart. She knew it wasn't that she didn't want to join them, but rather that she was scared of the dangers she might encounter, scared of the challenges she didn't think she could face. One evening, as OBBY curled up in her den, listening to the rustling leaves outside, she suddenly heard a knock at her door. Her heart skipped a beat. Who could be visiting at this hour? When she opened the door, she was startled to see a mysterious black-cloaked crow standing before her. Its eyes were deep and shining, and its feathers glistened like the night sky. "You are OBBY, aren't you?" the crow asked in a deep, resonant voice. OBBY, trembling with nerves, nodded cautiously. Who are you? And why are you here?" "I am a messenger of the guardians of the great mountain," the crow replied calmly. "The guardians have seen the potential within you and wish to invite you on a special mission." "Me?" OBBY's eyes widened in surprise. "I've never been to the mountain, and I'm scared of adventures." The crow seemed to smile slightly, as though it could see right through her fears. "Everyone's courage lies within them, but only they can find it. The guardians have recognized the courage in your heart, and they are offering you a chance. If you accept the challenge, they will grant you the power to discover your own courage." OBBY's heart raced. The great mountain was a place of legends, said to be full of mysterious powers and hidden dangers. And she, a little raccoon who had never left home or faced the outside world, was supposed to undertake such a mission? She wanted to refuse, but when she looked into the crow's piercing eyes, she felt a spark of desire stir within her. She wanted to be brave. She wanted to break free of the fear that had always held her back. "All right, I'll give it a try," OBBY finally stammered, summoning all the courage she could muster. The crow nodded approvingly. "Very well. At dawn, follow the creek northward. The stream will lead you to the foot of the great mountain. The guardians will be waiting for you there." With that, the crow spread its wings and disappeared into the night sky. OBBY spent the rest of the night wide awake, her mind spinning with thoughts of the challenge ahead. She was both nervous and excited, her fear and hope intertwining in her heart. She knew that tomorrow would mark the beginning of something new. At first light, OBBY packed a small bundle of supplies, some dried fruit and her favorite berries, and stepped out of her den. She took a deep breath and began walking along the creek, just as the crow had instructed. The gentle flow of the water sparkled in the morning sun, seeming to guide her forward. Along the way, her emotions were a whirlwind of tension and strange comfort. Though the forest around her grew more unfamiliar and the trees loomed taller and darker, OBBY did not turn back. She knew she had to keep going. After several hours of walking, OBBY reached a clearing and suddenly heard a low growl. Her heart pounded as she froze in her tracks, scanning the bushes. Peering through the underbrush, she spotted a small, injured fox lying on the ground. The fox was weak and struggling to stand, but each attempt only left it collapsing back to the ground. OBBY's heart went out to the fox. Despite her own fear, she couldn't ignore the helpless creature. Cautiously, she approached. "Are you all right? Can I help you?" she asked softly. The fox raised its head, its voice weak. "I'm hurt, and my leg won't move. Can you take me to a safe place?" OBBY's fear battled against her compassion. Helping the fox would mean stopping her journey and possibly encountering more dangers along the way. But she couldn't bear to see the fox suffer. "I'll try," OBBY said, taking a deep breath. Gently, she helped the fox to its feet and slowly guided it to a safer spot by the creek, where the grass was soft and the water was clear. She used the cloth she carried to bandage its wound and gathered some herbs to help it heal. As time passed, OBBY realized that when she focused on helping someone else, her own fears seemed less overwhelming. She wasn't consumed by thoughts of danger, but instead by the desire to care for the fox. A few days later, the fox's leg had healed enough for it to return to its home. "Thank you, OBBY. You're very brave," the fox said gratefully. For the first time, OBBY felt a sense of pride swell within her. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as timid as she had always believed. With renewed confidence, OBBY continued her journey. Eventually, she reached the foot of the great mountain. The air was cool, and the surroundings were veiled in mist, giving the place an eerie, mystical atmosphere. The mountain seemed to rise into the clouds, its peaks hidden from view. Just then, the crow reappeared, landing gracefully in front of her. "Well done, little raccoon. You have come far. Now, you must face the trial set by the guardians. Are you ready?" OBBY's heart raced once more. Despite having overcome some of her fears, the thought of a final trial made her anxious. But she also knew she had come too far to turn back now. She took a deep breath and nodded. "I'm ready." The crow led her along a mountain path until they arrived at the entrance to a massive stone cave. Standing before the entrance was a large, white tiger, the guardian of the great mountain. "Welcome, OBBY," the guardian's deep voice rumbled. "I have heard of your journey and your acts of bravery. But now, you must face your final test." OBBY's heart thudded in her chest. She knew this would be her toughest challenge yet. "You are to find the stone of courage, hidden deep within this mountain. Only those with true courage in their hearts can find it. You have 1 day to complete this task. If you succeed, you will gain the strength that lies within you." OBBY nodded, feeling the weight of the challenge, but also a determination she hadn't known she possessed. The guardian stepped aside, and OBBY entered the forested mountain path, knowing that she would face many obstacles ahead. The dense trees cast long shadows, and the path was steep and treacherous. She climbed carefully, her focus unwavering. At every turn, the landscape grew more mysterious, but she pressed on. After hours of traveling through the forest, OBBY heard a soft cry. Following the sound, she found a small squirrel trapped beneath a large tree root. The poor creature was struggling but couldn't break free. OBBY didn't hesitate this time. She rushed to the squirrel's side and used all her strength to lift the heavy root. Though she wasn't very strong, her persistence paid off, and finally, she managed to free the squirrel. "Thank you, little raccoon. You saved me," the squirrel squeaked gratefully. OBBY smiled. "I'm just glad you're safe." With every good deed she performed, OBBY felt her courage grow stronger. She realized that courage wasn't about not being afraid, it was about acting despite the fear. She learned that when she wasn't focused on her own fears, she was capable of great things. Finally, after an arduous journey, OBBY found the glowing stone hidden deep within the mountain's heart. It shimmered brightly, and as she touched it, a warmth spread through her entire being. She had found the stone of courage. Do you still like today's story? If you like, please remember to subscribe to this channel and click the like icon. You can receive notifications and hear the latest stories as soon as possible. Good night, my baby.